Okay, hello. Alright, we're a week later. There's the bacons hanging. I had them stacked up there on brown sugar and natural salt, 50/50. They set up real nice. Um, I'm really happy with the natural salt. It's the first time using that. I've tried a couple different kinds of salt. Tried kosher salt. I didn't like that. It did work, but the meat has such a good smell. I don't believe that the um, kosher salt just I don't think it set up that chemical reaction of whatever it does. Just don't think it did that quick enough. And anyway, real happy with that. So the bacons are washed last night. I just lightly peppered them. I just like that taste. You don't have to pepper them. Built one fire last night. They don't take too much smoke when they're wet, but they were pretty dried off. And so I went ahead and started a fire. And there's the hams. They got another week to set. And I'm going to take this natural salt and sugar here, this 50/50 mix, and coat the hams one more time. Okay. There, I got them recoated, and they'll set for another week. Like I said, this coating really goes on nice, and it sticks to it even though there's really limited moisture on the hams right at this point. But that natural salt is pretty fine, and it's probably irregular too. I don't know. It probably has like flat edges and stuff on it, I guess. So anyway, you can see how right there now that's starting to pull some moisture out right there. And there's another one. See, it's right around that bone. See, here's a bone, here's a bone. Anyway, that's what you call the H bone right here. They call that the H bone. It's really the pelvis bone, but that's where you want to really make sure you get enough salt in around the bone areas. Another place is this top area right here where the leg bone goes in. Definitely want to pack salt in there, because that's where your tendency for spoiling would happen. Okay, so they're going to sit there. What I do then is when I'm done, I'll hang these hams up, and then before I build another fire, I will take hot water and wash the salt down, try to get it out of my smokehouse, just because I have a concrete floor and I think it would start to crack it up. So I'm going to try to preserve my concrete floor. Okay, so the way it works here, we got a fire going over here. Got a couple vent holes down here at the bottom, and then we got the pipe going off the top and takes the smoke into the smokehouse. So you build a fire in there, you get some good embers, sort of like it is now. That looks pretty good. And then you get some smoke wood. I gotta split some up here. Hang on. Okay, got a couple pieces split up here. I split them up about like this. I'm using sassafras. You can use many different kinds. I just throw it on like that. That. I get the lid. Okay, I gotta get my stick here. Okay. So that scene starts to calm down, and as you can see, smoke is pouring in. So now we just let it burn, and as that fire goes out, I feel, and I'm not sure, I don't have a ton of experience, but I feel that you know, you start smoking and you want so badly to keep smoking, but when you're doing this kind of a smoke with a heavy smoke like this, it can get bitter on the outside. So taking it slowly, building a fire, letting it go out, let it sit for a day or two, or even 3. It really is no rush at this point when you're salt curing, because when you're doing a dry cure, because at this point those bacons are cured. They cannot rot. So especially, and then, you know, it always works best and gives you the best product when you do it in the fall or when it's cooled. You know, of course, the fall some places isn't cold, so but when it's cool out, when it's dropping below freezing at night at times and going up above 40, 50, 60 a day, that's fine. But that dropping down really lets the process take over at the salt. So okay, so we shut the door. Oh, here we go. There it is. Okay. Yep. So there it is. That'll burn probably till for 6 hours. It'll smoke pretty good. And you know, toward the end, or sometimes, you know, you can catch the fire as it's dying and start it right up again. But I don't know what it is with the smokehouse, but I always want to keep smoking. But I've learned that the best product seems, now the hams it's not, because they hang for a year. I do take the bacons in. They could hang, but I do take them in, wash them off and let them dry, and then I slice them and we freeze that. So, but if we ever didn't have electricity, you could let them hang. The hams I let hang for a whole year. They go through the summer sweats, they call it, and that's when they really dehydrate, and so they have a long time for that smoke to go in. And then I boil them 15 minutes to the pound whenever you're going to eat them. Now they could hang for years, and there would be nothing wrong with that as long as that salt took up inside it. There's no issue on them just staying out. They'll just continue to dehydrate. So your best yield is probably after the first year. I think a lot of those places that do country ham in like this Kentucky and Virginia, they probably go 2 years. But they have a really controlled environment that the ham is in. They have a temperature, they have a climate controlled area to maximize everything. So mine seem to be the best after 1 year. I could tell a big difference with the Berkshire hams versus the crossbred hams that we did earlier. The crossbreds were much drier and tougher. This Berkshire that I did last year was so tender. I was amazed without having any of the tenderizing process that's done in hams nowadays, modern hams. It was just as tender after we boiled it. I boiled it in a big cast pot, and so then you trim out off the outside. So I think bacons are more touchy because they're so thin and you eat right out to the edge, whereas hams you're not eating out to the edge. By the time a year's up, you know, that's a kind of a dried, maybe a little bit of mold growing on the outside. So you wash it up, you scrub them up, you boil them 15 minutes to the pound, and then you take, you know, then you trim it, bone it out. And then what I do is I pack brown sugar and cornmeal around them, and you can bake them again if you like, or for 45 minutes at like 400 degrees is what I've saw recommended. And then I let it cool, and then I slice it thin and like on a slicer or something, and then you can have like dry beef, or like you could just eat it after you boiled it. So if you boil it before a meal, then you'd have your ham hot and ready to go. But the cornmeal and brown sugar kind of sweetens it up a little bit, so maybe I would sprinkle some brown sugar on it to serve it if you just boiled it and served it right away. But anyway, there's some ideas. Take care.